What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 30 of Procedurally Generated, the show about the random history of video games. It's November 2nd. It's November, you guys. Why are you laughing? That's so funny.
Because it's the first time that you welcomed everybody, and Courtney has to laugh that first time.
Oh, yes.
That's how this works.
Yes.
We went over this last week.
She always thinks we're just getting together to chat, and then a show starts, and she's like, wait!
Hold on.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready. Oh. Well, how was your week, guys?
It's good. It's uneventful, I guess.
Can't ask for more than that.
Lots of working. Did some Halloween stuff. Went to a Halloween party. That was fun.
Nice.
Did you wear a costume?
I did. I was a pirate.
Nice.
I there's a small meme created on Friday of last week when I was on Super Replay when I dressed up like a wizard and told everybody I was a wizard, and someone clipped that. It's real dorky sounding. But
Perfect.
yeah,
I need to find that clip.
Yeah, I can see if I can find it and put it into the Discord. But yeah, it was Halloween's a fun time, and now we are past the Halloween. We are firmly into the holiday season.
We are, yes, and we're dealing with the fallout of having way too much candy on hand.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough time of the year, all right? For those of us who are
Tough for what?
for those of us who know that the holidays are coming and will be eating for the next 2 months straight, candy is the last thing that I need. But it's in the house, and I'm incapable of stopping myself from eating it. So, at this point, we're just gonna roll the punches. We're gonna go buy some bigger shirts.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna add some notches to the old belt. Just kidding. I don't leave the house. I don't wear a belt. We're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna see
Even
what
wear
happens.
pants?
My basement gets cold. It's
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I'm actually wrapped up in a blanket right
I
now.
mean,
too,
technically,
so.
you are working every weekday. You should be wearing pants when you're on stream.
True. Yeah,
That's, I just gotta say it. Just gotta let it out there.
I
Chris-
disagree.
in the middle of summer.
Chris, I'd prefer it if you specifically were wearing pants during your stream.
Listen, I could say I'm wearing pants. Are you gonna know?
No.
Do you want me to get a new
He's not
camera?
gonna know.
That's true.
One angle down. Realize
Oh,
what you're
man.
asking.
Wide angle
Wow.
down? Isn't that tall
No.
angle?
What?
Are you just gonna go like TikTok aspect ratio for all of your streams now?
Absolutely.
Just
Yeah,
so
it's
you
gonna
don't have
be
to
weird.
like edit it.
Yeah,
That's pretty
100%.
good. Yeah, I like it. I like that
I
idea.
think you just need a picture-in-picture pants cam.
I think so too. Just so I can.
Oh,
so I
let's
stay honest.
Let's see how my pants are doing. Oh,
Yeah.
not there still.
Oh, I lost them. I'm sorry you guys had to find out that way.
Oops, I'm in a
Or
hot tub.
there's a new channel redeem for you. It's a pants check.
There you go. I thought you were gonna go take your pants off, and then I was like,
No.
well, now we're getting into some.
No,
yeah.
I think the way that Courtney described it was skirting the line of what's legal and not legal
Yeah.
on Twitch. Pants check, legal.
Mhm. Take your pants
Scripting
off.
demands,
That's-
not legal.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is a different service altogether that Amazon and Twitch do not subscribe to. So,
Terms of service definitely apply in that instance.
mm-hmm.
Oh man, but yes, Halloween is over. It was Jack's first Halloween trick or treating.
Oh, nice.
Oh
Oh, yeah.
I know it went well because at one point, as we're walking down the street, he unprompted, he just goes, "I think this is the best day ever," and I was like, "Yes, I'm so glad you're having a good time." So he had a great time.
He's right, though. It is.
He is.
It
Yes.
is the
I
best
think
day
this
ever.
is the best day ever. And I'm like, I think you're right, buddy. So
Oh, you
He
get
had
to
an
be-
amazing costume too.
He did.
He
looked
did.
Real buff.
he did, yeah. He was Batman. He had his cape and the mask that went over like the top half of his face. He wore it like a champ. He also had like thick PJs on underneath it because it was like 40 degrees outside.
It's very cold.
Yeah, it was brisk. He was not bothered by the cold though. He went up and down the block, and then we have a road that extends behind us into a cul-de-sac, and Grandma and Grandpa took him down there, so he got to go with Grandma, Grandpa, and Mom and Dad.
Nice.
So,
The whole crew.
Good times, absolutely.
did you walk up to the houses and ask for candy as well?
I did. I walked him up there and then let him do the thing. It turned into a business
And then
transaction.
you didn't just hand out, like, put out your hand and go, come on.
What
I'm
I
here
did
too.
You
think
got more. There
while
aren't
I
that
was
many
doing
kids
it,
out here.
I was thinking like maybe next year I hand out everything. Parents come on up. Here's a beer. Enjoy the rest of your walk. You know, parents get the beer, kids get the candy. I think next year I might do it.
Just drinking a beer between houses?
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole neighborhood will get into it. It'll be great.
I saw things on the internet for that. People had like their little candy dish, and they said if you're over 21, you should knock on the door. And they were handing out like little, like things of vodka or
Little airplane bottles.
like the little airplane bottles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. See, you got to choose your neighborhoods carefully. All right. You get in with the right people. That kind of fun stuff will happen. Yes, but Halloween has passed. We've made it into November. John, you specifically have an event coming up here soon. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's a little event that happens every year called Extra Life. It is a charity fundraiser. We raise money for the Child's Play Foundation, which I believe the money goes towards buying kids games and entertainment for when they are staying in children's hospitals. So money goes
as long as it's that and it's not going toward the Child's Play remake.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, I mean they've got that handled. I mean there's a TV show happening. I think they have plenty of funding for
I'm willing to support one. I'm not willing to support the other. So
sorry, hold on. Let me look up the CEO of this. It's
No.
his name is Chucky, my buddy.
Weird. You'd think a CEO maybe wouldn't go by Chucky, but hey, listen. He's
I'm not a CEO.
18,
he's at the top of a company. I'm not the one who's making the money. So
he's 18 inches tall, 6 pounds.
I'm sorry. His name is Chucky Good Guy.
That's what it is.
And it also says in parentheses, not a serial killer.
Important to know.
I don't know what that means. Like,
I think most people should have that in their title.
So yeah, we are. Game Informer is participating in the in a 25-hour marathon on YouTube.com, where we're playing video games for 25 hours. We are partnering with a local indie organization called Bmx.
Mm-hmm,
You might have heard of them. It's
familiar.
Ben Hansen and Kyle Hilliard and Jeff Marchiafava, bunch of people who used to work at Game Informer, do cool game stuff on the internet through Bmx. And we also have participants from Easy Allies coming on as well. So all three of our groups are banding together this year to lighten the load a bit, but we're going to be entertaining the folks who are watching on YouTube and raising money for kids in need. So people who donate we're going to have like prizes and donation incentives. So there's going to be a bunch of cool stuff that's going to be given away. But also people could donate to have people on stream like eat hot peppers, like jalapenos, or do you like, I don't know if like a one chip challenge is in there or not. I'm currently signed up for like shaving my beard in stupid ways for people's enjoyment. Also, people are like shaving their hair. Previous years have been like, oh, I want someone to shave their head like Krusty the Clown. And so
nice.
all they'll have are just like chunks of hair on like the top and sides and everything else shaved off.
Is Monkey Tail on the table for your beard?
Monkey.
That might be the one.
I don't know if it's thick enough to go all the way through, but I like it. I like your style. That's half the reason why I have this beard. I feel like making you shave your
beard is not.
Mm-hmm.
I know you beardless.
Yeah.
Making you shave off even bits of your beard is not that exciting to me, but getting you to shave off parts of your hair, that I could go for that.
I've been trying to convince my wife to let me do this. And I want to have people donate excuse me, I'm apparently burpy tonight. To make myself look like Guy Fieri and dye my hair blonde and spike it,
Oh.
I like
and then
it.
just like shave the goatee, and then I'm in Flavor Town all night. And I think that'd be great.
I would donate to that.
Yes, and
Yeah.
then I'd have to end up shaving it anyways, or dyeing my hair funny colors afterwards. So, yeah, all the money's going to a good place. There's fun prizes that you can donate towards or that are being auctioned off for. And yeah, our like the main Game Informer section is from 4 p.m. on Saturday. This is Saturday, November 6th. 4 p.m. Central through 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. And then we'll have Game Informer people interspersed throughout the rest of the time. The actual event starts at 8 a.m. on Saturday at with mostly MinMax, I believe is doing the first part. But I have a really fun section at 7 p.m. with Marcus Stewart, where we're doing something that we've talked about for a while. I'm going to keep it a secret for now. I think it might be out. Actually, it might be out there. We are doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel.
Oh boy.
It's news to me.
Where,
In fact, I thought it was something. I thought you told me something different,
maybe.
and I was pretty excited about that. I don't know if they
No.
somehow come together.
No, so this is Marcus and I have been wanting to figure out who's better at Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while. So we're doing this in a pretty fun way where there might be costumes, there might be voices, we don't know yet. But we're both going to be representing specific characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think that'll be a lot of fun. This is at 7 p.m. on Saturday, Central Time. So check that out.
Tune in. These
Tune in.
I've watched Extra Life in the past that Game Informer's done. They're always a good time. If you guys are looking for something to check out, supporting a good cause, I strongly encourage you. It is good fun.
Yes.
So
yeah, love it. But yeah, that's mostly my weekend is staying up way too long. I don't know if I'm doing like the full 25 hours, but I offered my services to whoever's hosting things that I'm around if they need me. So we'll see. But yeah,
Perfect.
that's my weekend.
Very good. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
What have you guys been playing?
Oh God.
Video games. In case you
yeah, what
needed
are
a
those?
Reminder.
I started.
I'll
playing...
start. Should I
Oh.
start?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've
you
been
never
talking for a
start.
while. Please.
If you need to if you need time to think, I want you to
I do.
recollect your thoughts here.
My whole
Mine's
computer was
short.
wiped, so my memory
that's
is wiped
right.
as well.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still playing kind of the same two games I was playing last week, 2 long JRPGs, so that shouldn't be that should be that surprising. We're still working through Tales of Arise.
Still good.
My way. Yeah, there's some things as the game goes on that are starting to get to me a little bit. Some of those, all of the Tales games are known for their skits that they have.
Yeah.
Where the characters will interact and do a little bit more world building, character building, that kind of stuff. And boy, they are coming hot and heavy in the end. And a lot of them are regurgitating information that you already know from the story.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that stuff is wearing on me a little bit. But we just got to a really cool part of the game. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously. So we're definitely in the latter quarter of the game, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working through it. I'm still having a good time with it. Eager to see where the story goes. The story is what's driving me forward. The biggest problem with other Tales games in the past has been the combat. I think this combat is infinitely better than other games. At least I'm more engaged. I'm more aware of what's going on. But I'm not going out of my way to fight more. I'm not trying to find combat at this point. I'm trying to push things forward. But so there's Tales of Arise, and then there is Blue Dragon.
All right.
If you recall, I didn't literally until today. But this game came out on 360, and it was 3 discs.
Yeah, that's correct.
I didn't remember that game being 3 discs, so I was just curious about where I was at in that game, and I am right before the end of disc 1. I quit today right before the end of disc 1. So
you've got a while.
I got some time to go in that one. And okay, one of my absolute huge pet peeves with the Xbox Series X. I like it so much. I think Game Pass is amazing. I think it has a very cool feature, but I don't like what it does sometimes. The quicker zoom works very well. However, in a game like Blue Dragon and in a game like, actually, coincidentally, they're both Toriyama games that have his art style, Dragon Quest. I played those games. I never shut my Xbox down. I mean, I did. I put it into. I turned it off using the controller, but that still keeps the quick resume on. So I played it for a day, came back to it the next day, or no, I think I played it on a Friday. Took a weekend off, came back, played it on Monday, and my game counter is at like 45 hours. That thing never stops running.
Oh, the quick resume doesn't. That's weird that it doesn't.
It doesn't stop the game timer.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so that's the second time that's happened. So I've only played the game probably 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah,
and my game clock's at 60. And I'm just like, well, cool. It'll be fun when I finish this game and it says it took me 150 hours to beat Blue Dragon. And
maybe you should make sure that you just
it's not
just a save face.
I know. And actually, now that I'm sitting here doing this, I realize I didn't do that again. So that timer is still ticking up as we speak.
That's fine. It just takes you forever.
But those are the
games. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It just if I don't have that problem in the first place.
Yeah, we saw you play Persona. Both of them.
Right. Yeah. If Quick Resume would have been on that game, we would have been crossing that 400-hour mark at some point. But other than that, and then it's just working on learning some more Python, trying to get better at that stuff. So,
nice.
Are you enjoying the Python more than the JavaScript?
Oh my God, yes. It's like this was written. It's like Python was written for people to understand.
Yeah.
Whereas JavaScript is not that. It's like, you want this obvious thing. Well, here's the most not obvious way to do it. The hardest thing with Python is getting me to unlearn the things that I had to do to make things in JavaScript work. Having to like not have that same approach for Python, where it's just like, I think this will work, and then it works, and you're like, oh my God, this is so much better when it just works the way I want it to work. But we're still early. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's been night and day.
Good.
All right, Courtney.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
I played games this week that do not rhyme with New World.
You sure?
I know this is really hard to believe.
That's what I say. Technically, New World, it doesn't rhyme with New World because it's New World.
Well, it rhymes. It rhymes. I did play a bunch of Darkest Dungeon 2. Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
Person. Yeah, you're welcome.
That's been super, super fun.
Did you
Although
play the first one?
I have the first one, and I think I like started it for like maybe 5 minutes one day and turned it off. It just didn't grab me right away for some reason.
The story part, probably. I understand.
Oh God. Yeah, the story part. This does kind of push my limit for annoying things that like pop up and kind of break gameplay.
The story.
Yeah, the story. Well, they're like all the characters. You have to have their relationships be good, because otherwise,
right,
they are just kind of mean to each other. And if they like each other, then they're healing each other or buffing each other, like, doing nice, friendly things. But when their like relationship statuses change, then it like comes up with a thing. It just it gets distracting, and I wish I could turn it off.
All right, so going back to last week, then, if that is how you feel about Darkest Dungeon 2, there is zero chance you will ever play Final Fantasy X.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. You're like, oh, maybe you try it. And now that I hear that you will, nope, not even. It's not even a thing.
It gets to me.
I can tell.
It gets to me. But at the same time, there's a lot of progress you need to make in that game, and you fail a lot. I fail a lot, which is apparently what you're supposed to do. It's still how you get ahead in the game.
Yeah.
So I think because there's still so much I can see that's not unlocked that I want to get unlocked and see who the characters are and see what happens, then I keep playing it. Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Like,
it was good.
I've only been able to boot it up for like 5 minutes, so I'm glad that there's going to be something good in there once I actually get back to it.
Yeah, it's nice. I just recommend maybe watching your time when you're playing it, so you don't look up and see that it's 2:00 in the morning, and you're like, "Well, probably should have gone to sleep."
Problem
one
with a
of
lot
them games.
One of them games. It
Gotcha.
just gets away from you. Yeah.
So was this the game that pulled you from New World, or are we still New Worlding?
I haven't played New World in a few days.
Ooh.
Nice.
I
over.
jumped into the darkest. It's not over.
Yeah, just taking a break.
Yeah,
I missed a
that's
couple
good.
days, and then
That's
I was
good.
talking to someone about they were explaining all the different kinds of problems that are in the game right now, and people are able to hack a bunch of stuff just by using the
Yeah.
global
Yeah.
chat and stuff, and it just made
Yeesh.
me I don't know if I need to log into that for a little while.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's
that is
probably
fair.
a good idea. I hear stuff like that too, and it also makes me feel all right that I have not jumped into that game yet. I'm
It
gonna
seems
let-
like really
let them
basic
work that
things they
stuff
should
out.
have figured out before they. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it turns out I can fish in other games, like I don't know, Fortnite.
Fortnite does
Mhm.
have that. Final
I can
Fantasy
fish in there.
15 has fishing.
Tales of Arise has fishing.
Final Fantasy 14 has fishing.
A game that I played actually that I forgot to talk about, but I only played it for like 10 minutes. Bassmaster, that just came to Game Pass has fishing.
Does have fishing. Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
I made a pretty impressive character. He's like 70 with a mullet and jean shorts. I've never been more proud of.
He's a
anything
pro.
I've created
Oh
in
my
life.
gosh!
Yeah, it
Does he
was
have a name?
something special.
Have you
I mean,
shared
we can
the
come up with one.
screenshot?
No, but that's something that can be arranged.
Does he have a name?
That's what I just asked. Yeah.
I might have
Yeah.
just called him C-Dub. I mean, the
Oh,
likeness is
C-Dub.
there. Let's be serious. I probably never made a better
Just all
representation
I
of
do
myself
is
in a video game.
All I do is fish. I have a mullet and I don't wear pants.
Yeah.
I'm C-Dub.
Mhm. And when I do wear pants, they're jean shorts.
Keeping it classy.
I don't know if that counts.
So okay, we got Darkest Dungeon 2. We got
Mhm.
New World.
There was a lot of Fortnite that happened.
A lot of Fortnite.
Oh yeah. All right.
I got roped into some Fortnite, I guess.
You
Get to
did.
play
You
some
totally
Fortnite.
did.
Yep, that happened.
It's going to be amazing.
I saw the peer pressure.
It was strong. It was intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling
So-
you, like I would not think of Fortnite as a game that has a storyline. But
This is the thing that. Okay, go ahead.
It kind of is. Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna lose my mind. Go ahead.
It absolutely does. There's so much story. There's so much lore. These nerds who've been playing since season 1, like, I don't know, let's say Coda, he can go on for hours about all these things that have happened and how this turned into this and then that happened. And oh my gosh, it boggles my mind.
Do you have any
So much
idea?
story.
Any idea how much it kills me to hear you talk about the story of Fortnite in such a way after listening to you hate on everything else story related we've ever talked about? I feel my heart ripping, shredding to pieces.
But the story happens while you're playing. Like it's all environmental.
It doesn't stop. That's right. It doesn't stop the gameplay. All right. I'll give you that. I can
it's not a
understand.
bunch of cutscenes. Well, except for once a month when it is a bunch of cutscenes.
Every once in a while,
when
they
everybody
have, like,
gets
the big
together
event.
to watch it.
Yeah, and the events are cool.
That's
cool.
true.
Yeah.
I did see the Marvel one. Not the Marvel. Yeah,
the Marvel, the one where you're fighting Galactus. Yeah,
yeah,
I played
saw that
one.
one, and that was pretty cool.
You stand around and you watch the sky for like 3 hours, and then you do stuff, and it's pretty awesome.
You'll see, C-Dub. When you come play with us.
You'll see Dub.
Yeah.
You'll see soon, Dub.
You'll see soon.
It's no BEERB. John, what were you playing? What? Okay, did you sort out your thoughts?
All right. Let's check something here. Did I talk about Guardians of the Galaxy last week?
I don't think so.
Okay, I played like the first chapter of that. That game's pretty fun. It looks really nice. It's a good representation of those characters of the Guardians you know and love from the movies. But it is more geared towards the comic book versions.
Okay.
It very much isn't the movie versions, which Square Enix did with Avengers last year, like using familiar characters, but definitely doing their own take on everything. So, like in this, your team is still Star-Lord, Rocket, Drax, and Gamora, but like, and Groot. Excuse me, and Groot. And
how could you forget Groot?
Excuse me. But gosh, what I was gonna say there. Star-Lord's been hanging out with like Groot and Rocket for forever, or for at least quite a while. But Drax and Gamora are newer to the team, it seems, and those two butt heads all the time because of Gamora's relationship to like Thanos. Like Thanos is a known quantity in this universe already, and like a big war had already happened. Like it sounds like 5 to 10 years ago that Peter Quill was involved in, and so a lot of the characters in the game are people that that Star-Lord knew in the past, and like he's already messed up their relationships, or like he has a reputation already. I'm super early still, but it seems like it's really well written. A lot of the dialogue's great. The characters play off each other really well. Combat's all right. I'm still waiting for that to grow on me more, because you play as Star-Lord the whole time, and you're telling the other Guardians to like do things during combat, to like do team up attacks and stuff. But yeah, that game seems good so far. What are you doing with it? Why do you have something to say, Chris?
I was
Dub
curious
has
about-
something to say.
I was curious if
Please
that button worked
interrupt.
and what it did, and now
It does.
I wasn't
wondering
interrupting.
I was wondering
I
why you were
was-
shifting up and down. This is great for the podcast, I'm sure.
I wasn't interrupting. I was simply pushing the button so that I could chime in because I have a legitimate question.
Yeah, what's up?
Is this game a self-contained thing? Like I'm not caught up on Marvel. You mentioned it's part of the comics.
Yes.
So it's more focused on the comics. Can I
Right.
feel like I can step into this game and not be a Marvel nut and still have a good time?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I mean,
'cause that's
it's
the thing.
probably going to help to like know who those characters are. Courtney, you have a question?
You've at least watched Guardians of the Galaxy, though, right?
Yeah, I think I've seen both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, that'll be like a good base to just kind of gather who
Yeah,
the characters are. But like,
I understand that. Yeah, what's kind of what their thing is as
Yeah.
anybody who's watched the movie, but like the rest of the Marvel universe, I've watched some of the movies. I have not watched any of the ones that everybody always talks about.
Sure.
I know what happens because everybody talks about them.
everybody. Yeah.
But yeah, I've fallen off of Marvel kind of as a whole.
Mhm.
I played Marvel's Avengers when it came to Game Pass and
Yeah.
fell off that almost immediately. I was concerned that the same thing might happen to Guardians of the Galaxy, but from the gameplay I see, it looks like it appeals to me a little bit more.
Yeah.
So did
Yeah.
you fall off Avengers because you didn't feel like you knew the story, or what made you not?
It wasn't the story. It was I just don't care for the Avengers. I don't care for the characters. And then I did like a part in the beginning that has Iron Man flying down a bridge, and I've never experienced worse controls doing anything in my life. It was a nightmare. It was terrible, and I was like, I don't want to do this right now. Maybe I'll try it again later. But I was very much in the mindset like we're done here.
It's on Game Pass now. So go ahead. You can go and play the Avengers.
Well, yeah, that's where I tried it, and even then I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna step back for now. So
Yeah.
that's good. I'd like to
I'd
give it a
say
shot.
that you could probably attach yourself to these characters from this game alone.
Okay.
There's a lot of like notes and stuff that are left around that you can read to kind of get lore for like the like whatever's happened in that place. They're pretty good at explaining stuff as well.
Okay.
And like the relationships between characters that like will show up are telegraphed pretty heavily. Like, Star-Lord slept with that lady who's part of the Nova Corps. So she's a cop. He's an outlaw. They have history. Rocket's not cool that they have history. And everyone kind of like wears their emotions on their sleeves. So I think it's pretty easy to understand where everyone lies and what everyone's feeling. It's good. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Check it out.
Good to hear.
The other game I've been playing is Final Fantasy 14.
Jumping back in, huh?
Getting back in. Well, new expansion comes out in like less than 3 weeks.
Yep.
I think. When is Endwalker? Anyways, November 23rd. Yeah, 3 weeks from today. So I have 3 expansions to get through in 3 weeks.
No
You got
problem.
plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
I think Sakaguchi just made it through in 30 hours.
That's fine. Yeah.
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 And he liked it a lot. That's the the father of Final Fantasy right there. Just churning through the entire storyline in 30 hours. I don't
It's
know
not
if that's
bad.
true or
I
not.
mean,
He did not do a lot of side stuff.
My weekends will be. Well, I mean, you don't really do side stuff. That's the thing that I've learned about 14 is just don't do the side stuff. Do the main story. Get through it. Do side stuff later.
Yeah.
I just want to see the main things right now, and
yeah,
get to play that new expansion when it comes out because I've never been caught up on that game. Anything else though? No, I don't think so. I think that's it. Riders
right.
Republic for like an hour. Might have talked about that last week. Last week's a blur.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something about the open world being.
Yeah.
It's
an okay open world. I don't know.
Okay.
Everything that I'm hearing about from Blake, who's reviewing it, is there's parts of it that are great. A lot of it that's rough.
Okay. Blake.
Blake Hester.
Keep that name in mind.
Might talk about Blake later.
We just might.
Yeah, I think that's about it though for games. I'm very much in Game of the Year catch up mode.
Mm-hmm.
Game of the Year stuff has started. So, I played Returnal. I played some more Returnal. That game is still very good.
Okay, you played it with the save, or
no? So I started it before the save stuff started.
Oh, really?
And then like a day later, that's when the save stuff came back in. I'm like, well, all right. But I'm still only in the first biome of that game.
Okay.
So
I guess and you hadn't played it.
I played it back when it released, but I was still only in the first biome. So now I'm like relearning how to play that game, and which it's actually a pretty quick relearn. Like everything makes sense on the controller. Everything plays super well.
Mm-hmm.
There was
for you guys that don't.
I
was going to say for you guys that don't know what we're talking about regarding the save feature, that game was lacking a pretty crucial piece. Well, it's not really lacking, but it's an upgrade that definitely it could have used. The runs in that game are incredibly long if you're doing well. Like we're talking hours, and the game does not give you an opportunity to stop between those runs, or it hadn't. So the most recent update allows you the opportunity to suspend those states so you can return to them and continue them. And I think it's a massive quality of life improvement for that game, which I loved. It was a lot easier for me to stream it in 4-hour chunks and kind of plan out my schedule for whether or not a run goes long, but not everybody has that luxury. So if you've been putting it off or if you remember that being a problem, it's worth probably jumping back into because that game is fantastic.
Yeah. Really liking it again. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's it.
Well, that's great because we have some games to talk about.
We do.
Now, before we do that, if any of you guys would like to chime in, leave us any feedback on what we're about to talk about, what we've talked about in the past, or what you'd like us to talk about in the future, there's several ways to do so. You can reach out to us on Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. You can reach out to us on Twitter at PG_show. You can email us at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. A link to the Discord is below. You can jump into the Discord. We'd love to have you. A lot of stuff going on there. You can check us out on TikTok. I've been posting small TikToks related to every episode so far. We just posted episode 12's TikTok. And you can follow each of us individually on Twitch. I'm CW719. John is John Carson Games. And Courtney is Mecha Sprite. Am I right?
You remembered
Everything?
this week.
I did.
Yeah,
Well, I always do
nice.
remember, but I want to give you guys a chance to chime in, and
Sure,
then I just
sure.
went with it. I just please.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
Sure,
please. You guys are VIPs, all right? I know about your Twitch habits.
Yeah, you can see us when we're in your chat now.
I can, yes. That's the only usable thing I can do with that bot. I don't know how the rest of it works. It's just my stalking tool for people in my chat at this point. Goodness. Well, let's get into our first game. This game, when it came up on the list, I think I both visibly and audibly shuddered. I was like, it's going to happen someday. We're going to handle a game. We're going to have a game come up, and it's going to leave us not feeling great. Now, having done my research, this might be, in terms of content, what's there, the story around it. This might be one of my favorite games I've ever researched for this show. All right, so developed by Z-Axis Limited, published by Acclaim Entertainment, released in 2002. We've got a super hard air quotes here, BMX Simulator.
Extreme sports arcade game.
Yeah, that's fair. Released on the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, and the Xbox. We're talking specifically about the GameCube version. We're talking about BMX XXX. And John, you made the point last week, very fitting point. We should call this BMX 30. It's our 30th episode. It lined up perfectly. That's why it obviously came up on the list.
That's why.
Yeah. The stars aligned and gave us BMX XXX for our 30th episode. Now, this game, for you guys that don't know, there's a reason I shuddered. So this is a BMX trick game, similar to like a Tony Hawk of the era.
And it comes from a series of games that are just like the Tony Hawk of BMXs. It was the Dave Mirra series. Mm-hmm. Actually had a couple of really good editions of that, with Dave Mirra BMX 1 and then 2 that came out on PlayStation 2 and I think GameCube, maybe Xbox, but both games that I played I really enjoyed. I was a big Tony Hawk fan in the day. So when they were coming out with the third one, I mean, people were excited, but also they took a really weird right turn with it and decided to take a lot of cues from other popular things at the time, like Jackass and other
basically like raunchy
shock
comedy
games,
movies.
Shock comedy, shock anything, and decided to go the XXX route.
They sure did. Which XXX is
not excuse me, not the Vin Diesel movie franchise.
Right, Vin Diesel will not be found in this movie.
We will not besmirch the good name of Vin.
Absolutely,
Mr. Diesel.
But no, BMX XXX takes the Dave Mirra formula and adds foul language, nudity, and toilet humor, and it does so proudly. Much too proudly. Let's see, we've got it's actually a competent BMX simulator. Like we said, it's based off of 2 successful games, but you complete these goals, you can unlock things such as new levels or stripper videos. Not like rendered stripper videos. Full motion recorded stripper videos.
It's like 30 seconds of a stripper dancing to what 311's Down.
Yeah,
is that always the song, which is a very weird.
The soundtrack. The one thing that I will say about this game is it has an amazing soundtrack.
It's okay.
It's just there's a bunch of strippers dancing to it. But it's not.
Let's put this out front. Sex work. good. It's a good thing. Like, not gonna put down anybody who's working in those industries at all. This just wears it on its sleeve in a way that is grotesque.
This does that industry no favors.
Yes.
None at all. Yeah. The stripper videos are there. There's also I mean, some of the tasks in the game have you collecting yellow snow for an ice cream man, gathering empty cans for a homeless guy.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of you know, we had said foul language, nudity, toilet humor. It's Jackass thrown into a BMX game.
Right. They wanted to see how far they could push things and get like better marketing from it. Right.
Yes.
Like that was the whole idea for like shock stuff. It's like, we're gonna get people talking. People are gonna want to see this. And that's the route that they took with this game.
Yeah. Yeah. You do well enough in the game, you can actually unlock a topless mode, so you can make a female character who plays the game topless. I was able to find the actual BMX XXX website on the Wayback Machine, and there's some interesting quotes pulled from some places. Game Informer was one of them. BMX XXX delivers.
It was on our cover.
It was on your cover, but I will say,
not my.
it was on Game Informer's cover, but I will say, the way that cover was done was not to celebrate the game. It was done in like bold letters. There's like, I don't remember it specifically, but it was obviously pointing out like, hey, this is a direction. Let's talk about this direction. Yeah. Not putting it in a positive light, not putting it in a negative light, but just
like it was very specifically like, there are multiple games that are doing this. Here's how it could go, and here's why it might not go this way. Like why it might not succeed. So
yeah. And I quote from IGN: BMX XXX never takes itself seriously for a moment. If movies like Animal House is your ideas of comic genius, then BMX XXX was made for you. Boobies, brash humor, and BMX bikes. This game has it all. Ugh.
In some versions.
True. Yes. We'll talk about that. There's a lot to talk about with that point. Silicon Magazine: is BMX XXX all it's cracked up to be? Absolutely. A new world of gaming has been unlocked, and indeed our lives will be changed again. This speaks to the time. This speaks to the era. This is early 2000s.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I'm not defending any of this stuff. It was a gross time.
Yeah. I'll say like, what's 2002?
Yep.
Like Jackass is like at the hottest point of its reign on like MTV and in movies and stuff. Like, I was really into that kind of like skate videos and Jackass, CKY, all of those kinds of videos and trends. When this came up, like, I was too embarrassed to even play it. Like, you could see right through the gimmick of it.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, are they really doing that? Like, I don't really want to know. Like, it looks real bad.
Yeah, I mean, when the cover is just the letters
black.
BMX XXX, big bold front of the cover art. Like,
yeah,
there's no
and
there's no
everything else is just
what they're
black.
Going for.
Like, yeah, it's just the logo.
Yeah. The other quote that I pulled, and I think this is surprisingly the most accurate one, comes from Playboy. It's the most accurate one, and it's also, I'm surprised that they put this front and center on the front page of their website, because to me it kind of slams the game a little bit. Deep down, there's a good game here, thanks to solid controls, pretty visuals, and a nice variety of offensive objectives. Deep down, there's a good game here. That's not high praise. Like, no. But they took, I think they honestly took offensive objectives and were like, let's run with it. Let's put that front and center, because it speaks to exactly what the game's about. They don't care about selling a quality game. They're not trying to make Game of the Year. They are just trying to push this on people based on how nasty they can make it.
Right. And so, it was fighting an uphill battle marketing wise as it was releasing too. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
there were a lot of partnerships that were pulled. There were different retailers that decided to pull the game. I remember it being pretty hard to find back in the day, but also it just didn't sell well.
No, it
So
really didn't. And not just the marketing aspect of it, which fell apart. It was the you're competing against quality titles. At this point, the extreme sports genre is basically oversaturated with games.
Yeah, because at this point you have what, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, or was Tony Hawk's Underground at this time?
I don't know the timing specifically, but it's you're gonna have Tony Hawk, you're gonna have Kelly Slater. I have a list of the games.
No one really played Kelly Slater.
Later,
SSX.
You have another BMX game, Matt Hoffman's BMX, was also out at this time. Wakeboarder Sean Murray had a game out at this time, but that's just, they may not have been the highest quality games, but you could just tell like this market was oversaturated.
Right.
That's why this kind of went the way it went. Well, for the most part.
I feel like all they needed to do was just keep with the Dave Mirra name, like don't mess up that partnership, and just make a game based around that, and they would have been fine.
Yeah. So shocking nobody. Originally, this game was banned in Australia entirely. A modified version was eventually released, which removed the ability to create a naked female rider. And then, as a point of pride, on the actual box cover, they did the thing, banned in Australia. So it was like one of the showcase highlight things on the back of the box. Again, they just took that and tried to make it into a marketing tool. Let's see. I'm just trying to think if I want to share some of this stuff in what order. The PlayStation 2 version of this game. This surprised me for a couple of reasons. Went through the highest degree of censorship for the game.
Yeah.
Now, this game released on the PlayStation 2, it released on the Xbox, and it released on the Nintendo GameCube. The uncensored version, or the censored version, I should say, has the topless women censored. Though character, which I think was topless women in the stripper videos themselves, although the character model nudity remained. And PlayStation's quote regarding this was, "We didn't feel that the topless nudity fundamentally added to the gameplay experience, and it presented an issue with regard to our global platform strategy and our guidelines. Because we have invested so much and have built in so much equity to our system, we feel we need to protect that." Good on you, Sony. You didn't like it. You made a change. What shocks me is who didn't make the change, who allowed the version to show up on their console uncensored, knowing their track record with other things, and that's Nintendo. Nintendo's like, go nuts. And there's some theories as to why that happened later on, but when I was doing my research, that was one thing that shocked me, was the fact that the PlayStation one was censored, the Nintendo GameCube one wasn't.
One of the theories was Nintendo wasn't, or like the GameCube wasn't selling as well as the other consoles. Around this time, or probably a year back, was when Sega went out of business. With the Dreamcast. So obviously this is all rumor, but it could have been the same reason why Acclaim went all out with their advertising with this in the way that they did. It's like, just any press has to be good press at this point. Anything's gonna sell copies, so keep the intrigue in it, I guess, if that's what you want to call it.
Right. There are some parallels that could exist between why Acclaim took this stance of pushing this game and why Nintendo was like, yeah, let's, listen, we got to make some noise here. So I have a timeline of sorts. I went through Gamasutra, or I guess Game Developer now.
Game Developer,
website is,
please.
Yeah. The website has changed its name. And I went through, I found so many articles on this, and I found it fun to find. I found myself a little bit of a timeline of events. So this is a story from October 15th, 2002. Game's announced, everything's it's well in motion. Game is rejected by Walmart, Toys R Us, KB Toys. Now that's a big deal. You got to think 2002. We're back before the digital age. These are not games that you can download. The only way to get these is physical copies, unless you're some top of the line expert hacker back in the day. I don't know. At the time, the Acclaim CEO said the critics were being unfair and had misunderstood that the game was supposed to be a spoof. So, Acclaim CEO taking his stance. All right?
Look at Courtney's face.
Yeah. We should stop. Courtney, how do you feel about all this? How's this going?
I don't even need to participate in this. This is just hot garbage.
Oh, it gets better.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that was from October 15th. Let's fast forward almost 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, November 3rd, 2002. Acclaim states editing game content would only happen if the console manufacturers request it, which Sony did.
Which
so
they
kind
did.
Yeah, so they're taking.
Oh, they're like, oh, that's it. Okay. Yes, please.
Again, I made the point that surprised GameCube didn't apply that same thing, but this was almost a response to Walmart, Toys R Us, KB Toys pulling out. We're like, well, we're only listening to the console manufacturers. We'll just have to deal with that. Fast forward another month and a half, just before Christmas. The game industry gets a failing grade for violence against women from the National Institute on Media and the Family, which studies the effects of video games on children. Okay, these studies have been going on forever. This is a especially contentious time.
And at a time where a lot of people in the industry were not aware of these things.
Yes.
We're in a very different place now than we were even 5 years ago.
True. And you still hear stories coming out all the time of things that are happening today. So I can only imagine how bad it was 20 years ago, when it actually was more of a quote unquote boys club. So in that article, they list the top 10 games to avoid, to avoid showing young children, which these are all justifiable games to avoid showing young children. But this is a study done by an independent entity, the National Institute on Media and Family. Do you want to know what those top 10 are?
Oh, yes. Please tell me.
Do you want to? Okay.
Sure. Yeah. That sounds great.
So think of the games at the time. The number 10 game is, I don't know what it is. It's called Whacked. That sounds like maybe.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know Whacked. Number 9 was Time Splitters, which is some shooty bang. I'm surprised to see that one on there. Resident Evil 0. There's some blood, some guts, some gore. Yeah, that's not for kids. Hitman. Hunter the Reckoning. Run Like Hell, which I think I remember that game. Blood Rain, definitely not for kids. Dead to Rights, also definitely not for kids. Now, the top of this list blows my mind. The number 2 game on the list is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The number 1 game is BMX XXX. So, in a way, they kind of set out and accomplished exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted to push the envelope as far as they could. They pushed it to be like a more poorly accepted thing than even Grand Theft Auto, which was like the game at the time that was pushing all of the legislature forward against games and things like that.
The weird thing is, like, you look at what that game is and you watch like footage of it and you see like what the controversial things are. And it's so like just boring. And I don't think it even really pushes the envelope that much. Maybe because we're sitting 20 years away from it now. But I feel like I could turn off my filter on Steam and see worse things.
Oh,
my content filter on Steam and be like, oh, all right.
Sure can.
So that list must be very different now.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I would wonder like what they would classify as games that even qualify for the list in the first place.
Yeah.
So, but that comes out. Again, we fast forward about 2 weeks later. We're on January 13th, 2003. This story's from Dave Mirra files a $20 million suit against Acclaim. So I didn't even know until we started researching this. I honestly thought the name of the game was Dave Mirra's BMX XXX. I thought it was a Dave Mirra game. I thought his name was on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's very much not.
So it was a pretty late poll, if I remember correctly.
Yes. So Acclaim stated that stated that Acclaim used Mirra's name despite both parties agreeing that he would not, in fact, be associated with the game. He also agreed originally based on the early concepts of the game, but backed out once the XXX aspect was introduced. Now, we're going to circle back to this in a second. Like I said, I have a ton of content for BMX XXX.
Chris went like full like newspapers on the wall, newspaper clippings, and like threads.
Yeah,
and push pins.
I had some fun
smoking a cigarette, pointing at things.
Just yelling at nobody else in the room.
Yelling at Jack, trying to explain the timeline of
Do you see
XXX.
it? Do you see it? Let's see. The Acclaim also stated that a second agreement was made, and the second agreement is the one that Acclaim didn't follow through on. Most of this is specific to the marketing and the advertising. Dave Mirra's likeness and things like that I don't think actually show up in the game, but he was heavily included in the marketing aspect of things.
Yeah.
March 17th, 2003, we're about 9 weeks after the Dave Mirra thing. Investors file a class action lawsuit against Acclaim. Investors, so these are people that have invested
give
in
money.
Yes. Lawsuit claims that Acclaim management misled the public by not disclosing information relevant to the company's operations. Now, I don't know a lot about I can figure out the details of the fourth one, but the fifth point is important. Channel stuffing is the first thing, which means you convince retailers to order more product than necessary to show higher short-term finances. So you kind of pad the books in a short-term sense to show more money on the books.
That and people will do that when they say that there's like X amount of copies sold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, that's just sold to stores. It's not like sell through to customers. Like, what's the actual number of copies that were sold?
Yeah. The second claim is pretty. I mean, it's pretty vague, but it's severe and continued operating problems. Just saying that the entire organization is mismanaged, basically from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Inadequate disclosure of sales results, not disclosing how releases were underperforming in the market. Inadequate disclosure about the company's distribution and retail sales tracking information systems. And the fifth one, and this one is specific to BMX XXX, inadequate disclosure about the company's plans to publish games with mature themes, claimed that the development of BMX XXX materially impeded the company's ability to access broad-based retail channels and thus hurt revenue projections. Because they had an investor call prior to the release of the game, but after Walmart, KB Toys, Toys R Us pulled out and basically revised their entire financial outlook, which I'm sure in this instance caught investors absolutely off guard because you're taking away a massive part of the market to sell these games.
That is not something you want to see as an investor. Like, it's a bad sign.
So every step of the way, it was doomed to fail from the beginning, and it failed spectacularly.
Sorry, you put what in the game? You put boobs in there?
Yes. What is this? You put scores content?
That dude's using that fire hose like it's his penis? What is happening here? And you're saying Dave Mirra is not in the game? Can we get like Tony Hawk or something? No. Wrong. Okay. No. Geez, we're gonna have to talk about this.
Why does the ESRB rating scroll out from the bottom of the box? Why is this so long? I don't understand.
Why is it a scroll? Why does it just like unfurl to the floor?
I didn't even think we had this kind of technology. Oh man. June 2nd, fast forwarding another couple months, Acclaim CEO resigns. His name was Gregory Fishbach. Fishbach.
It's probably
resigns.
This batch of fishes.
Fish batch. But he did keep his position as co-chairman of the company. Probably not a wise move. as a result of all stuff mentioned. October 26th of 2003, so a couple months after that, Acclaim and Dave Mirra have actually resumed their partnership, and Dave Mirra is under contract until 2011. So Dave Mirra got over it pretty quick. I think they settled their lawsuit out of court.
Yeah, there's a part in an article that we haven't talked about yet about that.
Yes, and that is exactly. I think we're talking about the same article.
Yeah.
We asked you to remember a name from earlier. We should test you. Did you remember? Did everybody remember?
Say it out loud.
Blakester.
It is the god, the king among kings.
Yes. So for the next part of this show, I want to give absolute 100% full credit to Blake Hester for writing an amazing article that I found on Vice. Because this game actually details how this game got made. Now we've talked about the fallout and everything of the game being released, but this article is an amazing talk. It pulls in people that are connected directly to the development of the game. They're well separated from it now, and many people are even surprised that they want to talk about it. Like he wanted to talk about it. And this was written in 2017, so about 15 years after the release of
BMX. I thought you were going to say 15 years ago. I'm like, I don't think
Blake's
not that old.
No.
He's younger than I am, which, as you know, is younger than both of you.
Right. He was a sophomore the same year we were.
2002?
So the title of this article, and this kind of sets the entire tone, how one bad joke morphed Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 3 into the ill-fated BMX XXX. The entire franchise took a turn because of one ill-fated joke in a meeting. Most of the information came from a discussion with Sean Rosen, who was at the time the executive producer for the game. Let's see. There's a lot that I learned about this, not only specific to the game, but about the developer-publisher relationship. I was always, especially as it relates to indie developers, I was always of the belief that indie developers published or made their own stuff, made their own ideas, and pushed, believed wholeheartedly in that. And this article pointed to some instances where that is not the case.
Not always, no.
So the first thing that you think of when you look at a game like BMX XXX, you look at who developed it and you'd be like, what were they thinking? Z-Axis, the developer, is not to blame for this. According to the article, the first two Dave Mirra games, Z-Axis absolutely loved making them. Like they were like, we were content to do this forever. We enjoyed it so much. But then Acclaim stepped in. They were the publisher. They're the ones who approached Z-Axis initially to create the first Dave Mirra game. And they chimed in to be like, okay, we got to make some changes here. So, all right, I listed off some of the other games: the Tony Hawks, the Matt Hoffmans, the Sean Murrays, the Kelly Slaters, which John says nobody plays, which may be true.
I don't know. I never played it. I'm sure I tried it just to see how that all translated. But
yeah.
Anyways, I digress.
So we talked about how action sports games specifically were suddenly very hot. They were oversaturated. In a hurry to separate themselves from the countless other games cropping up, someone told a joke. What if we put strippers in the game?
What if?
Yeah, what if? I can't even think of like forget that this went on to spurn an entire video game. Can you imagine being in a corporate setting? How can we make our product better? And somebody says, "What if we put strippers in it? What if we had strippers do this?" You would, in most instances, I hope this is true. This is true of the experiences I've had. You might not have a job by the end of that day for even bringing that up.
I don't think that's always the case.
No, I feel like these days you could say that and people will implement it in a thoughtful way.
The places that I've worked, that kind of thing.
I mean, game-wise.
Based on...
If you're an indie developer, you could be like, all right, here's our game like Boyfriend Dungeon. What if we put a stripper in this game? And then people would be like, oh, okay, so it's this person's livelihood and their job. And
right,
like that is part of their character. And instead of like their whole being is stripper.
You would expound on the idea and
Yeah,
flesh it out
yeah.
into something that makes all right, that's fair.
Mhm.
That's fair. I guess I was thinking of like the actual way that they applied strippers in this game specifically.
Right. Yes.
But yes.
If we did that, no.
No, yes, don't do
That would not be a what if we put a stripper in Bug Snacks?
That's true. I'm thinking of my last job and I'm like, well, what if we went to the trade show and we put strippers in the booth?
Oh, the business model.
Yeah. That would have been cool. Thanks for having me. I'll go sign up for unemployment now. That just wouldn't have gone.
Gonna go back to streaming.
Uh-huh.
Chris, is this what happened?
Yeah. No, that's why I did so much research. I'm like, I've been through this before. This exact situation. Didn't work for me. It didn't work for them. I should have read this article.
I gotta figure this out. Why are you always suggesting strippers?
Every meeting. No.
Courtney, you don't know this, but during our planning phases of this, he was like, what if we talked about games and then we put a stripper in there? I'm like,
You see,
I would say, Chris, no one can see it. It's an audio podcast. No one's gonna know.
I feel like there are still plenty of companies in a variety of industries who are going to have some guy saying, what about strippers during some meeting? And the reaction's not going to be, there's the door, see yourself out. It's going to be like, oh yeah, you know what? That could probably work.
True. I guess I say in my experience, and then I think back to my experiences. There's one place specifically where I would not have, that comment would not have been appreciated in the least. And then I think to my last job, and you know what? You're right. It probably would have worked.
It probably would have gone over and they would have been like, oh, you know what? That's genius.
Yeah.
Here's a raise for you.
But I will say, at least in the video, if we do kind of focus in on the video game industry, which I think I wasn't, but if we apply it to this logic now, I think that the video game industry has come a long enough way. I mean, booth babes were a thing at this time as well. They would hire models to just stand in these booths. So like a lot of those practices have changed. I hope that we're at an age now where most companies have grown up. Most companies have, especially with Fallout that we keep hearing about from different studios that are under the gun, or not under the gun, sorry, but they're being exposed for some of the habits that they do have, and that stuff's being almost. I mean, it feels like every
God, I wish it was under the gun.
Yeah, right. But Acclaim at this time, Acclaim was in a bad place. They needed a game to succeed. They needed PR
for reasons that weren't this.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Jen, you hit on it a couple times. Good or bad PR didn't matter. People were talking about the game.
People still do that, and it works. It's like, just get people talking.
Yeah,
it's all mind share. It sucks.
As far as Z-Axis was concerned, management was actually on board with the idea, but there's accounts of people within the company that were very much not on board, angry about the change of direction, not only because of the content, but because they had already been working on Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 3, and they had to like literally go in and alter code, change the game around from what they created to incorporate this kind of stuff. Due to contractual obligations, though, they didn't have a way to wiggle out of this. Like this was being financed by Acclaim. They didn't have a choice in the matter. And then this is the quote specifically that I thought was really important and helped me kind of understand how that publisher-developer relationship works. So in the article, it's quoted, "One thing that is a common misconception in the game industry itself is that if an independent developer makes a game, then it's their idea. They stand behind it. They believe in all the content. They're making it for themselves. No, we were paid by Acclaim to make BMX XXX. As much as people think that the people at Z-Axis were crazy for coming up with this idea, we were contracted to make this idea."
Yeah.
At that point, it was hard for me to wrap my head around that. I understand it, but
which, like, that still happens. Like,
yeah.
If you look at even more recent games, like obviously not the same type of situation, but things like Metroid Dread, it's made mostly by Mercury Steam. It's being contracted by Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Nintendo has a lot of say in what goes into that game, the content, the story, whether they need to push it back or not to change things in it. Like, Nintendo has producers and directors and people who are guiding that game, as opposed to doing it all internally. So yeah, similar situation here. Not every indie developer is fully indie. Like these days, indie means that you are doing it for yourself, that you're not using a big publisher. But there are independents or like for hire studios like Z-Axis was in this situation, who are just taking those ideas and running with them for these bigger corporations.
Yeah, and a common consensus that kind of came out from some of the people while the game was entering its full promotional cycle where ads were running and everything. A lot of the people at Z-Axis had to sit back and realize like this thing that they were super proud of had suddenly become what they coined as just the stripper game. You know, the content, the things that they had loved, like had been kind of ripped out and like made into something different that they didn't really approve of. So I mean, that had to be tough to just swallow. One thing it was showed off at E3 of 2002. IGN awarded it the most effed up idea award, which was meant to be an insult. And Acclaim again, they ran with it.
Badge of honor.
Yep, loud and proud. During the article too, Rosen kind of shares his side of the story as it relates to Dave Mirra specifically. Rosen claims to have gone to Dave Mirra's house to show off the game, and Mirra loved it. But after his sponsors kicked in and told him, no, this is a terrible idea. Don't do this at all. He pulled out. And
that's when the lawsuit started.
Yeah.
That we talked about before.
And it's not like they just lost Dave Mirra. They had tons of licensed pros here, and one by one, every one of them began to pull out. So it had a domino effect, coupled with retailers not selling the game, and then the actual sales expectations being revised prior to release. This game was never, ever, ever going to succeed, despite all of the controversy and conversation around it. Acclaim essentially spent money prior to all this, marketing the game, thinking that this was the stuff that they needed to do to really get the game to explode. But when all of the revenue sources dried up before the game had even released, they spent money they didn't have. And that was basically in 2004. It was kind of the nail in the coffin for Acclaim. They filed bankruptcy there right then and there. So that's kind of the timeline of BMX XXX from cradle to the grave. Which again, Blake Hester, you did an amazing job on this article.
As usual.
Yes, we'll link it in the show notes, and I can get you that link, John. I have it here as well. So check it out. Read the entire thing. It's a really good look at just what went on with the development of this game.
Yeah.
I'm sure Acclaim would still wear this as a badge of honor, but this is one of the games.
Is it on Twitch? 1001 games
it is not,
that you should play?
No, it is not that, but it's on a different list. Games not allowed on Twitch. Which I really didn't even know that list existed until.
What about the PlayStation 2 version?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Again, we've talked a lot of not not great things about this game. But the soundtrack: Green Day, Saliva, Taking Back Sunday, Sublime,
it's okay.
311, Trust Company, Motley Crue, Newfound Glory, Bang 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 Bang.
I think if you look at the list of songs, there's some that you're just like, oh, I see why they put this in there.
Yeah.
It's here. Sublime's Date Rape.
Yeah.
Girls, Girls, Girls by Motley Crue. Lap Dance by NERD.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mostly it. There's a few that are like, I see what you did. That's stupid. Yeah, I like My Friends Over You. That's a good song.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it
really
just every step
around
of the way,
that time.
Every step of the way, like you can just see how bad of an idea this was and how much worse it got every step of the way. So, BMX XXX, god awful idea. Great content for a podcast like this.
Yeah, lots to deep dive on.
The game, for the record, too, the GameCube is the highest rated of the three consoles. It sits at a 60 critic score, but it's got a user score of 4.4.
Looks like it ran well. That was
probably.
like that was the thing with like a lot of the extreme sports games these in like that era was like the switch from PlayStation 1 to like PS2 and GameCube, and everything went to like 60 frames per second, and it looked like Tony Hawk was the same way with like Tony Hawk 3, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this looks, at least gameplay wise, to be the same deal. But
that's all I have for BMX XXX. So not much, just a.
I don't think we need to go down like the whole history of.
Yeah, I didn't even talk
everything
about.
else.
I mean, I kind of covered kind of the life.
Well,
the end
we'll
of
save it if it comes up for like other Dave Mirra games or.
Yeah, Acclaim will probably show up on this list again at some point.
Skein Destroy, whatever.
But should we take a little break?
Yeah, I think we need to after that one.
Yeah.
I need to cleanse myself. And,
he needs to go yell at the wall.
Need to burn the podcast down.
I can say with certainty that the last two games are slightly less controversial.
Slightly.
Maybe even wholesome.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll see.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are back for part 2. How was your break?
It was good. I saw my cat.
Good.
He's a big boy. He somehow jumped onto a vertical clothes basket that was packed to the brim with clothes without knocking it over, and now he's asleep at the top.
Perfect.
It's very cute. That's it. That's all I did. Now I'm just sitting here drinking this full throttle. It is 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. It's Tuesday?
Gosh, you have the worst habits.
I needed to get through this show, Chris. It's been a long day. It's always a long day.
I feel like he's calling us boring.
Yeah.
He needs an energy drink in order to put up with us and get through it.
I'm not calling you boring per se.
Well.
Yeah.
Done.
What?
Well, let's put that energy drink to good use. John, do you want to introduce our second game?
Oh my gosh. Our second game this week is. Hey, we promised more wholesome. There's some holes in this one, all right.
Oh,
what?
18 of them, to be exact. This is released in 1990, developed by Brooks DeForest. Is the name that I found for it. Published by Rufus Pro Software for the Microsoft DOS. This is World Golf 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is a first-person golf simulator where you play 18 holes of golf with golf clubs and golf balls. I did not find too much about this game.
There was not a lot to find. I tried to look up we'll talk about what we can talk about it now. I didn't find anything. Brooks DeForest might have moved on to music, or maybe there's a band. I tried my best.
It could be a pseudonym. Who knows?
I don't know. I looked up Brooks DeForest. I found some weird electronic music on Apple Music. Not my jam, literally. But I could not find anything else that he developed. Rufus Pro has published some other things,
but it was all stuff that was made by Brooks DeForest.
Oh, so it was all his stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think that's just one in the same there. And I don't know who Rufus Pro is, and I don't know who Brooks DeForest is. They made these games though. So like I said, it is a first-person golfing game that points you in the general direction of the hole, as you should in a golf game. You probably want to hit the ball towards that. Now I'm putting Chris to sleep, which is impressive, I'd say.
I don't have any energy drinks in front of me. Sorry.
You only have 4 clubs. You have a driver, an 8-iron, a 4-iron, and a putter.
Just 2 more than you need.
Each shot is influenced by the wind, direction and speed, and the force of your stroke. Which I'm about to have a massive stroke.
Because
if I need to talk about this game anymore, I don't know. There's like nothing.
You paused weirdly, and then I was like, "Wait, are you serious? Like, what? Are we
No.
having a stroke?"
Maybe. Yeah. There's 3 difficulty settings. Graphics are pretty minimal. Kind of 2D looking. It's weird if it's first person, but everything looks kind of 2D.
The landscapes, to me, they looked more like alien planets.
Yeah, very very colorful.
Colorful.
I
A lot of
appreciate.
triangles on lines to make up the trees. They just didn't look very tree like. I mean, it's a DOS game for 1990. What am I talking about? But
Right.
it did not look even great for the time. I got super excited because I found this game on the software library. And I'm like, good. I'm gonna get a chance to dive in because I can't find anything on this game.
Right.
I made it to the 3rd screen and I pushed every button on my keyboard and nothing made things go forward. I didn't get a chance to play it.
Did you try swinging the club?
Oh.
I almost swung a club at my monitor trying to get it to work.
That's you didn't try it though.
It's true. I stopped
probably
just
should've.
short of that, but I got excited. I made it through the 1st screen and I think the 2nd screen, but when it came to selecting the time of day or night, not a button on my keyboard.
Who golfs at night?
I don't know.
Oh, people golf at night.
You get glow in the dark.
Glow in the
balls.
ball.
Yeah.
Glow in the ball
darks. Yep. I can't do anything right. But yeah, I'm right there with you, John. I could not find anything on this game other than a couple of screenshots and the very short to the point description about the 4 clubs and you.
You know why you couldn't find any information on this game? It's because
Why?
our friend Brooks clearly did not have a meeting with someone who said, "You know what would make this game better? Strippers."
That's true. That's
Whoa,
true.
hey, yeah.
Listen,
I
there was
still-
outlaw golf. That does exist. That is a thing.
Yeah, that is closer to having strippers in golf.
I think 2 of the characters are actually strippers in that game.
It's somehow more classy than BMX XXX.
Yes. Outlaw tennis is a thing as well. Anyways, that's not what we're
Outlaw
talking about.
bowling. It was a whole budget series that you could find at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Blockbuster.
But that's really all I've got on this game. There's nothing else that I can talk about.
Tiger Woods isn't in it. It was before his time. Maybe Arnold Palmer, if you pretended, if you squinted hard enough.
Or my favorite golfer named Fuzzy Zoller.
Zeller.
Well, listen. O before E except after D. All right.
Yeah, but anyways. I like Fuzzy is a good name.
Rufus Pro, they published 11 games in total, none I'd ever heard of. As John said, apparently they were all done by
Brooks
DeForest.
Expo, Quasar, Toad Road, World Golf 2, Not a World Golf 1, Break Off, Fluff, Greyhound Racer, Max Blackjack, Tactile, which that must be fun to touch. Air Attack and Snakes.
Should we find it on the software library and find out?
Yeah, let's go look up Tactile. It's checkers.
Well, that's just checkers. I don't want to play checkers.
Or is it let me hold on. Strategy game played on an 8x8 board. Populated with a specific pattern of pieces. There's always one human player against the computer. Blah blah blah. I'm just trying to see if it's like Othello. It is. Yeah.
Gotcha.
To do this, pieces may be captured by. It's like checkers and Othello, because like you infect the other pieces by jumping over them, like checkers.
But I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not World Golf 2.
It is not.
Maybe it'll come up on our list, and we'll do a deep dive into that one, and probably have just as much content.
Hey, guess what? We just did a 2-for-1.
We did. Yeah.
This is still slightly impressive, though, for Rufus Pro for having 11 titles. It's 11 titles that all came out between 1988 and 1990.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
It is very true.
But I think you see that a lot with developers at least I think from the experience that I've had looking at DOS games specifically, those
DOS
things came
games.
out DOS games.
Like
Those games
candy.
came out fast and furious. So
Yeah. Man, I want to play some Break Off.
I think that's World Golf 2. Should we jump right into game number 3?
Let's
Slightly,
Here we go.
Slightly
do it, Courtney.
condensed.
Yeah.
Courtney, do you wanna introduce it?
Well,
do you have the info?
I have some info.
Sick.
I can tell you the name of the game is Baku Baku Animal.
Yes.
It's a falling block puzzle arcade game released by Sega in 1995.
That late, huh?
It's
Well-
this one had some weirdness when it came to the
Yeah.
release date. It is also developed by Sega AM3 R&D division and published by Sega Enterprises Ltd. So Courtney, keep it rolling. What do you got for us?
Oh, well, it is dedicated as Sega's first ever network compatible PC game. That's pretty significant. That's pretty
that's
cool.
neat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it looked to me I know they likened it to Tetris a little bit. It looks more like a Dr. Mario-ish, like flipping around a two-piece
Yeah, I would
thing
agree
instead
with
of
that.
flipping shapes around Tetris style. But yeah,
Yeah.
you're dropping blocks of animals and foodstuffs. When an animal is aligned adjacent to a tile of its favored food, the animal eats the food.
They really typecast some of these animals in here. Monkeys eat bananas. Hold on, I don't have my thing up here. Or did I? And I just closed it. This is gonna happen once per episode, I swear. There it is.
There it is. Okay, yes. I also I was like, I think I wrote down what every animal eats.
Yeah.
You did?
Rabbits eat carrots.
Yes, which makes sense.
Whoa.
Dogs eat bones.
I mean, it shouldn't be their primary diet, but sure, for this case.
And pandas eat bamboo.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, monkeys eat bananas.
And there is a little bit of a story to this game.
Okay.
So
Oh yeah.
story is there's this is the description on Moby Games. I'm just gonna read this verbatim. The minister approaches the king to tell him that his only daughter, the princess, wants a new pet. But the king says she already has too many, and she can't take care of so many animals. Thus, the minister proposes a contest of skill and daring to select the royal zookeeper. Master Piggy then sends his pupil Polly to participate in the contest, which seems very cute.
That old chestnut.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned Tetris and you'd mentioned Dr. Mario. Another
Yes.
game that I think also this game plays similar to is Super Puzzle Fighter.
Yes, that's actually that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to think of. I'm like, what game has like the gems that fall that will break everything?
Mhm. Oh, I guess I should also mention we're talking specifically about the Sega Master System game, and that's going to become important here in a little bit. But this game
Yes.
also released in arcades, it released on Game Gear, released on Sega Saturn, released on Windows. It didn't release on Genesis. Weird that it released on Master System. Weird that it released on Sega Saturn, but not Genesis, the surrounding
Right.
consoles.
Did it come to the US? Or did it only go to English-speaking territories, aka like the UK, which would have the Master System?
Yeah, actually, you might be right. Was there the Mega Drive?
Sorry, the Mega Drive and the Master System. Like in Europe, the Sega consoles were king or queen,
Okay, so maybe I
and
know this.
they weren't the Genesis there.
Right. Well, the Genesis is the Mega Drive,
Right.
and the Master System and the Mega Drive are separate consoles, right?
Right.
Okay. So I didn't have Mega Drive listed on here, so I guess either way it skipped that.
But
generation of
also
hardware.
yeah. But also I
Um,
think the Mega Drive was pretty popular and it was just everywhere to begin with. So
Okay. Well, so actually, I'm an idiot. I know the answer to this issue because
It's on the Saturn.
I found it. It is on the Saturn.
It's a contemporary of the Saturn.
No, it's so. Well, first off, this is a well-liked game. I never played Baku Baku Animal.
I love the box art. Whatever's happening in the PC box art is incredible. It is the greatest, one of the greatest box arts I've ever seen.
I heard it. Somebody had mentioned that it was like giving a 7-year-old 3D software for the first time and just letting them go nuts. And I thought
it looks like someone who's just baked out of their minds, mocked up like what was the like alligator dentist game, like the actual physical plastic game when you'd pull teeth out of like an alligator and eventually it would just like snap its mouth shut on you.
I barely remember that exists. I do not know the name of that game.
Yeah, it reminds me of that, but with a monkey, with like Donkey Kong, with a bunch of other animal heads and hearts. Oh, it's so good.
But this game, yeah, well liked. Got some won some awards. Computer Gaming World in May 1997 gave it its Classics/Puzzle Game of the Year. EGM, I put EMG and I got confused because I'm like, what is that? EGM in March 1997 gave it its runner-up award for Handheld Game of the Year for the Game Gear version. The runner-up to Tetris Attack. And it also gave it the Puzzle Game of the Year runner-up for the Saturn version, also falling to Tetris Attack.
Tetris Attack's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a good game.
I guess, as we know my relative
aptitude for puzzles.
Yeah, well, no, my lack of excitement for Tetris. Baku Baku roughly translates to chomp chomp. That's good to know. Let's see here.
Yeah, it's like Pac-Man. It could have been called Pac-Man? I don't know. Back-Man?
This let's see. This game was actually included along with Sonic the Hedgehog. In 2001, I found this on Game Developer. Synovia brings.
Is this their columns replacement? Like,
I don't know. It is weird that that does seem like the standby. But Synovial brings Sega Game Gear emulation to PDAs. You guys remember PDAs?
Oh yeah,
you could play games on your PDAs.
You sure could.
You could play
on your graphing calculator.
That's right. You could play Sonic the Hedgehog, or you could play I forgot the name of this game. Baku Baku Animal. There it is. And then it looks like a couple more awards. Computer Gaming World in 1996 named it as a finalist for Best Trivia or Puzzle Game, losing to You Don't Know Jack XL. And in 1997, PC Gamer named it the 72nd best computer game ever.
Seems like
that's pretty good.
Type praise.
That's pretty good. I'm guessing in
the 1001 games you need to play before you die?
No, it's not. Unless it was failed to be mentioned.
Why didn't you put it on there?
Well, let's be fair. Really, it was number 72 in 1997. We're in the year of our Lord 2021. I don't think it exists on that list anymore.
I think there's some games from that time that have lasted that long.
I don't think Baku Baku Animal is one of them.
We don't need to mention that I've never heard of this game before this week.
Thank you. I felt bad.
Yep.
It had a bunch of awards. I don't know. I feel like I should have heard of this game before, and I had no clue what this was.
Nope, that makes 3 of us. I completely.
I just don't think it came here.
You might be right. More interesting tidbits. Again, probably maybe just makes us look like we don't know what we're talking about. But Baku Baku Animal is included on the blue version of the Game Gear Micro that just released in October of 2020 in Japan. So again.
We don't have that here.
Yeah, so we don't. There's been no announcement of those coming out in the US, but
although do those also take like 6 AA batteries as well?
I don't think the unit is big enough. I don't know how you fit a battery in there. It's got to be a watch battery. They are tiny. Like Like,
Mm.
think of like the SNES, how small the
It's
SNES is.
not part of the experience then.
Like, you have to see how small
changing
those things
full
are.
fleets of batteries every 2 hours.
There's a reason it's the Game Gear Micro and not the Game Gear Mini. They could not go any smaller with this thing.
Yeah.
So here is the thing that I thought the release date was why it was so confusing. Despite the Sega Master System being out first, it was actually the last to get this game. The Sega Master System version actually came out in 1998. The game itself was already released on the Sega Saturn, Game Gear, and PC in 1996. This is because it may have only appeared on the Sega Master System in Brazil. So it was specifically ported to Brazil, Sega Master System, which
Brazil has a really interesting game history.
They do. They get stuff that not other places. The other places just don't get.
Right.
And this is an example of that where
good old Baku Baku.
Yeah. So there you go. That's really all I have on Baku Baku Animal. I have a little bit on the actual developer, Sega AM3 R&D division. Do you have anything else about the game that you want to share? Anything you found?
Not really.
No.
It's a puzzle game.
It's a puzzle game. Apparently a pretty okay one.
Yeah.
Top 72 game of all time. Stamp it. In 1997. Don't stamp it now. That's probably not true now.
I'd buy that book. What do you have about AM3R? It's no AM2R. Let's be real here.
Well, technically it is, because that's where everybody is now.
What?
AM1 and AM2.
Oh, Courtney just found.
What?
All right, carry on.
They also released Virtua Tennis in 1999 and Crazy Taxi in 1999. I'm going to ignore the chat. So those are two, super, super fun, super important, super popular games. In 2000, Sega AM3 R&D division branched off to become Hitmaker, which I actually couldn't find any reference to nowadays. The only Hitmaker I could find was specific to like an actual production studio for like movies and stuff. But 3 years later, in 2003, Sega Rosso and Hitmaker merged, bringing Hitmaker back into Sega in July of 2004. And then what remains of the studio has primarily been absorbed into AM1 and AM2 today. I don't know what the AM means. Sega, is it Sega
Morning?
I don't know. Sega Morning. Yes. Sega Morning. I think you're right. That's got to be it.
I don't think I've ever thought about that. What?
I know what the R&D means, but I know that part. It's also weird that a development studio has R&D in their name.
Yeah. All right.
But that's how it goes.
Doesn't say.
Yeah. So they are the AM3 R&D division is no more, but what remains of them was
amusement machine. Means amusement machine research and development.
Okay, that is an outdated term. They must have probably came up with that when arcades were their main focus.
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
They used to be the Nintendo Entertainment System, so very similar wording.
I
for
suppose.
Consoles.
I suppose.
And then they got all cool with like Mega Drive, Genesis.
Ooh, that was in stereo. That was nice. I hope you guys like that. That's a little treat. That's all I got for Baku Baku Animal and the developers. If you guys don't have anything else, should we go ahead and try to rank these bad boys?
We should. This is going to be conflicting.
Is it?
Yeah. Boy, actually, I didn't even think of that. There's going to be some judgies happening if you go in a certain order, isn't there?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's all about self-preservation now. So for that, in that case, John, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, I'll lead us off with number 2 this week. Is going to be a game called Baku Baku Animal, a little arcade title from Sega that came out on many things that we never got here, and it seems like a good puzzle game. I like puzzle games, but it seems like it's pretty similar to other puzzle games that I've played, like Puzzle Fighter, which has Street Fighter characters, which gives it a leg up in my estimation. But I'm willing to try Baku Baku Animal to see how these animals eat all this food on the board. It seems cute. It's a cute premise. And
Pandas eating bamboo is adorable.
Number 2.
You can't go
from
wrong.
AM3.
There you go. I'll take the next one.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2 is World Golf 2. I am a sucker for any golf game.
Sure.
I don't know what this one plays like. It might not play well at all, but
with my experience of old golf games that were on PCs of some sort, it's not great, Chris.
Listen, I'm looking back to a game that came out before this one. I think NES Open.
Yeah, that was on the NES. I said PC games.
I know, but
did you ever play like Lynx?
Yeah, I did, because it had like the weird, like really realistic John Daly.
Right. Yes. Too realistic. John Daly.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about
the box smelled of booze. Like that's how realistic it was.
There's like a half smoked cigar in there. Yeah, that's right. We talked about John Daly during episode 1 because Lynx was one of the games included.
Oh, that's right.
The gold games.
But
yeah, I'm willing to give any golf game a shot. The idea of hitting a ball toward a cup is
it's good. It's great.
I love it.
I love a golf game.
That's right. Courtney, what's your number 2?
My number 2, for honestly no good reason, is golf. I don't really want to play that game. I don't.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Slim pickings this week.
Yeah.
Slim pickings.
It sure is. It sure is. John.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. My number 1.
I need to leave the room.
Is BMX XXX. Courtney's head is in her hand.
So I want everybody go ahead and reach out. Say, Courtney, thank you for your time here.
Yes.
I understand your decision to move on from Procedurally Generated. I completely get it.
It's been great, you guys. See you later.
It's not out of it's not because of how they advertise it. I kind of want to see how good of a BMX game it is now. In this day and age, we don't really have many of those. A lot of it's like downhill biking, things like is it Descenders, and things like Riders Republic, but not a lot of like trick BMX games in the vein of like Tony Hawk or the old Dave Mirra games. I also just want to see what stupid stuff they put in there, because right now it's just kind of more of an archival curiosity to me than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, a lot of it's just so childish and dumb and boring for its humor and its titillation or whatever. I don't like, not interested in that stuff. I guess I'm kind of interested to see like how far they think they went, or like how like where their line is after like losing all their sponsorships and stuff. Like really it's just more of a curiosity of that for me.
John, do you also maybe, I don't know, eat at Hooters because you really like their chicken wings?
God, no. I don't really like bone-in wings.
That's fair.
Also, Hooters is just super awkward.
Yeah, I've never gotten the allure.
I've been there a few times in my life, not
Kind of like
Not
a
great.
BMX game with strippers is a little awkward.
Yeah, right. That's correct.
Yeah.
But also like, I don't really want to try that golf game. I like golf games. So this was like a tough one. And like realistically, I would pop in BMX XXX if given the chance, just to see what the hell that thing is these days. I know I lived through it. I don't think I actually ever played it. I had friends who had it. They told me how good or bad it was at the time. But now it's just more curiosity. So
yeah, I don't know.
Shame me all you want, but there are much worse things out there now.
True.
And also do it in a better way, which is weird. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know my my stance with puzzle games. I don't want to play a puzzle game. Mm-hmm. So my number one is also BMX XXX.
I hate it here.
Yeah.
I knew this is where it was going to be.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't even think about it until we started looking. Like, I never knew. And I realized, like, uh-ohs. we don't really have, we don't have a good path
I know
to
where
take
this is
here.
This is all, this ranking is going to be very easy for me, but also going to look very poorly on paper.
Yeah. It's one of those weeks where it's like, there really aren't any bangers here. There aren't,
No, they didn't have that in BMX XXX. It was just strippers.
Right. Yeah, they should have just called it BMX X. No, like, I obviously am not condoning the content in that game. I think that I had a chance to go in and really like understand why it was created, what events led to it. I'm actually happy to see that the way it turned out was a massive failure. One that I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs, but it crushed Acclaim.
Yeah, but it wasn't. What was cool was it wasn't Z-Axis that got crushed by it. Like, they got saved, which is
right,
rad.
and that's the other thing too. The people that worked for Z-Axis developed this game did not have any control over the content that went into the game. They poured their heart and their soul into this. There was a quote. I should have pulled the quote. It was an important quote. I should have quoted it. They still put everything they had into the game, as despite their, their professionalism was top notch to try to create the best product they could given the conditions that they were given. And the Dave Mirra series was a good series. I was actually a bigger fan of the Dave Mirra games back in the day over Tony Hawk, just because I liked BMX, sport, more than I like skateboarding.
Which X Games events were you watching?
Exactly.
Was it rollerblading? Was it skateboarding? Was it BMX? Was it motocross? Yeah. So you knew which game to go for.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, there is a quality BMX game in there. It's just surrounded by a lot of unfortunate content that was applied to the game for all of the wrong reasons, and the people associated with the product suffered for it. So that is why it is my number one. But it is my number one with a it's no, it's not an asterisk. It's the game that I would play.
Yeah.
So.
Courtney, please let us know why BMX XXX is your number one.
I do feel like I said this a little bit when we were during a break. I should apologize to Z-Axis and to David Luntz because I had some misdirected rage toward them for that game. And I really just wanted to hunt down information on them and see that they have failed at life because of that game. Yeah. But it's not their fault. I should have been directing that toward Acclaim. I realize that now. It was my mistake. This is my formal apology.
Hey, 20 years have passed. You were forgiven.
Oh, thanks.
You were more than forgiven.
My list this week only consists of 2 games because that game is in a dumpster for me.
I like that.
So my number one is Baku Baku Animal. Ooh, not because it looks super awesome to play. It's just like the lesser of 2 evils this week.
It is one of the best rated games that we've seen in a while.
It's true. The 72nd best PC game ever in 1997.
Ever.
Yes.
In 1997, there were a lot of PC games in 1997.
And you are a PC gamer.
Yes. I played a lot of PC games in 1997. It turns out. This was not one of them. But I would give this a go over golf. And I'm not talking about the other one.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Great.
That's what I got.
All right.
It's in a dumpster. Why talk?
It's in a
about it?
dumpster.
That's right. All right. Well, that is those are the rankings. I guess
That's
I could quickly comment. Baku Baku Animal. The only reason it's number 3 is because it's a puzzle game, and I lose interest in puzzle games immediately.
Oh, sure. But before we go to thank them, I just want to point out that I found a sequel, a spiritual sequel to a game that we recently covered on the show.
Yeah.
There's a new trailer out for a game called The Cruel King and the Great Hero. I'll give you 2 seconds to guess out loud in your car as to what that's a spiritual sequel to. Yeah, it's another game from Nippon Ichi with the same art style as The Liar Princess and The Blind Prince. So different gameplay. Like, it's still a side scroller kind of, but it uses RPG combat, which is more up Chris's alley, I think. So he might play that when it comes out
Ooh.
next year.
Yeah, and again, I said it once. I'll say it again. We are obviously the podcast that drives the industry forward.
Yeah, they
we
weren't going to
talk
make
about
this game
games.
until we talked about it.
That's
Yeah.
right. We talk about games.
Look what
and
happens.
Sequels get announced. I'm just saying. It happened a little quicker this time because we just covered that game last week, right?
Yeah,
So
I believe so.
there you go.
I'm going to suggest we not actually publish this episode then, because I don't want to encourage anyone to make a sequel to the games we discussed today.
BMX Quadruple X.
Oh,
please
that's
no.
too many.
Technically,
That's too
it's there's already an X in there. There's already a 4th X in there. So BM, it's a BM Quadruple X. It's all
there
about
you go.
That's baby.
That's the better one.
It's all poop jokes all the time.
Actually, again, meant to be insulting. They would have loved it. Acclaim would have been like, yes,
I
put
love
it on
it
the
now.
box. Oh
Just
man,
tweak it for 2021. All fart and poop jokes.
Well, guys, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging in there, listening to a lot of BMX XXX stuff. A little bit less content for the other 2 games, but doesn't detract from them.
But still, a good 30th episode.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Happy 30th episode.
Hey, happy 30th to you.
Big 30. We did it. If you guys would like to comment on the 30th episode, my voice would it's just like, no, you're only going to say the beginning and the end of that word. We're not going to do the middle. If you'd like to comment on the show, the 30th episode, or any of the 29 episodes before this one, we invite you to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. You can reach out to us there. If you really like the show, consider throwing a couple bucks our way. Trying to grow this thing. Got some big ideas for it. If you do not want to contribute money to us, maybe give us some ideas of some things that might get you interested in doing that. We want to provide the best content we can here, so please let us know. Also, give us a follow on Twitter at PG_show. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, pgshowinbox@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on our Discord, which is linked below. We're all in there hanging out all the time. It's also
don't know why I'm pointing.
The streaming hub.
No one's watching.
Nope. This is a podcast. Nobody can see you pointing at your crotch. Yeah, it's also our hub for our streams and things like that. And then you can check out our TikTok. Like I said, I just posted episode 12. I'll be working on those. Granted, it's been a little bit slower as of late, but I'm still working on catching up. I've been busy.
That's
with a lot
fine.
of things coming up.
We don't have a ton of episodes to catch up with. So
that's true. I'm behind by 18 episodes yet. I'm trying to get them out on a regular clip though.
I was going to tell you need to slow it down so they don't catch up to our actual episode.
This is how anime works. It's you're always fighting to catch up to the manga, and then when you catch up to the manga, then you either have to make up stuff or you have to wait.
Game of Thrones did that same thing.
They did.
Not well. Not well.
No.
And then you can also find us on Twitch. You can ask us questions about the show there. I am CW719. John is
John Carson Games.
I was going to let you do it this time. Well done. Courtney is
/ Game Informer.
Macca Sprite, and I almost streamed this week.
almost.
Almost.
Oh, I think you said you almost dreamed. I'm like, did we have a conversation about how you don't have dreams?
No.
Like what?
We've not had that conversation. That's a different episode.
Yeah, I will be streaming. Well, I mean, you probably won't listen to this by then, but this Thursday, you'll probably catch a VOD of me playing a new car racing game from Microsoft that I don't know if I could talk about yet. There's probably going to be reviews out by then anyways. I think that's Thursday when embargo lifts. Anyways, also John Carson Games and Extra Life on YouTube through Game Informer and MinMax this coming weekend. Saturday.
Another reminder, if you guys are free, check that out. Head over to Game Informer's YouTube channel. They're not doing it on Twitch, right? Just YouTube?
Correct. And it might be MinMax's as well. Min with 2 N's.
Yes. Check out both those. I think some of you listen to this know exactly who MinMax is.
Yeah.
And I hope you know who Game Informer is.
We'll see.
But yeah,
we'll
we're going to really quickly thank the existing patrons. Let's do that right now. If this list sorts. Thank you, list.
You need
Thanks,
theme
Liz.
music that comes up for this.
Yeah, John, get on that.
That's acceptable.
I mean, yep. It was music.
Oof.
Oh,
Sure.
Quick, somebody tell a joke. There's a rim shot for nothing. Ooh.
Yeah, here we go.
All right. It's kind of loud, but yeah, I think if we can tune that down, let's say thank you to our platinum supporter, Macca Sprite.
Whoop. That's me.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is going to come through on the actual recording, so.
Oh, well, we'll see. If it's not, we sound ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Our 2 gold supporters, Coda and Xchin. Thank you, guys. Our 3 silver supporters, Cassidy, Catherine, and Tim. And then our bronze supporters, Ozzy, Brandon, Jason, John, and John. I'm sorry it took such a somber tone at the end. I've got so many sounds happening in my ears.
This is amazing.
And I guess my last request for anybody that listened to this, if you guys could leave a 5-star review, we would greatly appreciate it. Again, always out there trying to grow this thing. Tell your friends if you think that they would enjoy it. That's one of the best ways to grow that word of mouth thing.
Yeah.
I don't have too much else, guys. I think we're good. Call it a show.
I think that is our 30th.
We did it.
High fives, everyone.
Woo! I can't believe that we got a game with the Roman numeral 30 in it.
Yes,
for our 30th episode.
And that was the intention. It's weird. It's weird that worked
weird.
out. Yeah, not a lot of games out there with the Roman numeral 30 in it.
No.
It's
Completely
probably a
random,
thing.
by the way. Like, honestly, that just came up randomly like that. It's crazy to me. So.
All right, guys. Have a fantastic week. We will talk to you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.